So we are supposed to be 21. Yes.
21.
Yes, madam.
On the Sakai, you are less than 20. And so I'm not sure if it's a problem of registration or students just have decided to stay away until close to the end of semester before they will start rushing. You should try and find out from the others, especially those who haven't been joining the class or even showing up on Sakai to make any comments on the forum discussions or joining you to work on group assignments. Because if they don't work on it, they are going to have to repeat this course. I'm not going to accept anybody at the end of the semester or somebody who just rushes in and goes like, I had late registration and all that. It can't come this far. Whatever the problem is, I'm sure it would have been resolved way before now. All right.
Yes, madam.
Anyway, how is the group work going so far?
Hello, madam. Please, good morning, madam. This is Joel.
Good morning, Joel.
Yes, please, madam.
How are you?
I'm fine, madam. Madam, please, how are you doing too?
I'm well.
Okay, madam, please. When you say the group work, which of the group work exactly are you
Why
referring
do
to?
you have more group works you are doing?
Yes, please, madam. Like
Which
this
one
week,
and
for
which one
instance,
are you doing?
we presented In Search of an Actor by
No, it's
Louis.
I'm asking about the relationship of work, the group work. Are members contributing?
Oh,
So that is what I'm asking about.
okay. I see.
So how did that go when you presented on
Well,
6 characters?
well, what we did was that we made everybody to read the book, and definitely we also shared it among ourselves. That one person would try and do the summary, another person will look for the time of action and all this, like some of
Okay.
the circumstances under the play. So this is basically what we did, and we brought it all
Mm.
together and prepared one work.
So do you have one person who puts it together or you all work together
Ye-
to put it together? How do you do it?
Well, everybody brings idea. Then there's one person who actually compiles all of them.
Mm,
Yes,
I
please.
see. Okay.
Mm.
So the relationship is good. Nobody is being lazy in the group.
Well, madam, for now we are not really facing all that as. I mean, we are trying to force everybody to do something. So
So they are
something
doing
is.
it.
Yes, please,
Okay.
madam.
Okay. Just to be honest, if somebody is not contributing, don't just put the person's name on the group list. You are not helping the person. You may think you are helping the person right now, but you are not. Because the person is in school and the person will not learn anything at the end of the day. So if a friend comes to you to put their name on it, even though they haven't worked, tell them you love them so much and you want them to benefit. So you want them to do the work. So you're not going to put their name on it. And you are doing it for their own benefit. It is not about you being wicked. You see. So I'm glad that things are going smoothly. You should keep it up, and group leaders make sure that it continues this way and even gets better moving forward. Okay. All right. So so far what's are your impressions of the place? Are the place interesting or challenging?
Madam,
Hello.
please, they are interested. This is Joel. Madam,
Okay,
most of them are
Joe.
interesting. Yeah, except
Mm.
for In a Search of Six Actors, six characters.
No.
In a Search of an Author,
Six.
rather. That one.
Yes.
Yeah, that one in the beginning, it's quite clumsy. You don't really understand what the whole play, since it is a play in a play, like you don't
Yes,
really understand what the whole thing is about. But
it's
I think
about.
when you read on, you quite get it.
I'm glad. I'm happy to hear that because, of course, it's a challenging play. And so you remember in the very first lecture, I was talking about being able to identify the feelings you have towards the play after you've read it, or even as you are reading it. I mean, what is your impression of the play? This play is difficult. And then you begin to ask yourself, what's making it difficult? And I like the fact that you are mentioning the meta theatrical aspect of it, the fact that it's a play within a play. So it makes it confusing. This is very good towards understanding it. And so I'm glad that even though it was challenging, you didn't give up. You went ahead to push to try to understand it. Of course, some of you may have gone to read it, to read summaries of it elsewhere. I'm not saying it is not good to read summaries, but reading summaries should be more like the second step after you have read the play and it is confusing. After you have finished reading the play and it is confusing, still, you may read a summary somewhere to clarify it, but then don't go to summary straight. You are not helping yourself. You're not giving your brain the benefit of the doubt to try and figure things out for yourself. And so, who is Dr. Painting in this class? Hello?
Chelsea.
Who?
Chelsea.
But why does she have Dr. Painting attached to her name? Chelsea. Chelsea, respond. I can see you are there. Hello? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, madam.
Madam, we
So
can clearly hear you.
Yeah, madam, we can hear you.
this person called Chelsea, who has Dr. Painting as her identity. Why can't she respond?
Madam, I think the person just joined, but the person is not around.
Or maybe, madam, there's a network problem there as well too.
I don't think so. I don't think there's a network problem. Okay, so Beatrice, are you here? Beatrice. Beatrice, are you here?
Madam, she's here with me.
She's where with you?
Yes, please, madam. I'm with Blessing.
You are with Blessing.
Yes, madam.
So why are you also here? Separately.
Yes, I have a problem with my phone, the mouth pin.
Okay.
So yeah, the speaker isn't working, so I'm unable to speak to.
Oh, I see. So you are with Blessing. Okay.
Yes, please.
And then there is Gideon. Gideon Eduse, are you here?
Yes, madam.
Good. Henry is here. Joel is here. Laurentia, are you here? Laurentia.
Madam.
Okay, good. Mary. Beatrice,
Madam, I'm
is
here.
Beatrice with Mary? Okay. And then
Yes,
Pearl.
please, yeah.
Pearl Eskin. Pearl
Yes.
Eskin.
Yes, madam.
Okay, good. So the only one who is absent here is Dr. Painting. Okay, so David, note that down. The
Hello,
name
madam.
is here, but she's not here.
Madam, please, I was sitting in the washroom. My phone was in the room.
Okay, so is this Laurentia?
No, this is Chelsea.
Chelsea,
Yes,
why
please.
is your name Dr. Painting here? Are you a
Please, that was the
doctor?
name. Not yet, please.
Not yet.
Yes, please.
So are you in medical school or you hold a PhD?
Please, I'm learning to be a psychologist.
You better change this name. It's very deceptive.
No problem.
And you have to take it seriously. It's not a
Yes,
joke.
please.
People earn that title. You don't just slap it on your name. So put your
Yes,
real
please.
name here so that I see my class list. Okay. All right. So far we have done A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. We have done Mother Courage and Her Children by Bertolt Brecht. And we've just finished 6 Characters in Search of an Author. Did you all submit your group works? City Campus, how many groups do we have? 4? David, how many
Yes,
groups do we have?
4
4.
groups.
Oh,
3.
okay. 3?
No, 4 groups.
There are 4 groups.
Yes, please.
Let me see. I'm not sure if all of them submitted their work. I can just quickly check. City Campus assignment 3. Okay, all 4 groups submitted. All right, that's good. You know, these live classes are meant for questions. And so if in the course of your reading and you're watching the video lessons, you have any questions you would like me to clarify, you bring it up so we talk about it. You can also talk to me about things you found very interesting in the course of your reading, things you found interesting about the play, things that were confusing, and all that. This is the time when you get to really express yourselves about the plays you've been reading and the assignments you're doing and your engagement with forum discussions and all that. So let's hear you. Hello. What's going on? Talk to me. Let's chat. Feel free. Okay. And don't think what you have to say is silly. Whatever it is. Maybe you found one character's attitude appalling. You can talk to me about it. You don't know where it might lead to. So let's see. You will have a lot to talk about if you have read all these plays and if you have engaged with the forum topic.
Madam, this is Joel.
Hi, Joel. Okay.
Madam, I would like to know in the 6 Characters in Search of an Author, the mother,
Yes.
she plays a role that like after being with the secretary of the father, she leaves. When he dies, she still comes back with that, even though the father did something that was wrong, that he asked them to come, but isn't it a little bit some way for her to come shamelessly without any like rumors, or like she's not feeling bad at all, as she left
She's
her
not-
husband and the children and she went in.
Yeah, that's some way, like you put it. But she doesn't see it as her fault. She sees it as the father's fault for sending her away with the clerk. And so your argument is coming from the fact that, I mean, she also made the choice to go, right? So she should also feel remorse for what she
Yes,
did.
please.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point. Of course, she also had the choice, but she decided to go with the clerk to the point that she even went to have children with him. It's like she has moved on with her life until he dies, and then now she returns to the town. But of course, she didn't want to contact the man because maybe she was feeling remorseful. That's why she didn't tell him when she got back until he found them in the brothel. Yeah, so it's a good point. You can argue it both ways. When the man said go, I think you like the clerk and the clerk likes you, I think you should go with him. She could have also said no, that's not the case. I want to be with my child and all that. But she decided to go. So maybe that remorse could have stopped her from um, going to the man when she came back to town. It's very possible.
And Madam, please, that remorse alone, or even she leaving and coming back, made a son offended. And I don't know if I'm getting it right, but I
Mm,
believe that's the reason why the son killed himself.
mm. The son, are you talking about the son she abandoned? The son.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
He is very upset with him because, of course, who wouldn't be? Just always try to put yourself in the shoes of the characters. You will try to understand them better. Because if you were the one whose mother had abandoned you when you were just a baby and left with another man to go and start a family somewhere, what would you think? You would think that she abandoned you. She didn't want you. That's why she left. Whatever explanations she will have for it, you wouldn't want to hear it. So that is the position of the son. That is the position of the son. And also because the father sent him away to be educated somewhere to become a gentleman, he didn't have any relationship with the father. So when he got back, he and the father were like strangers living in the house. And so, of course, he wouldn't even want to consider the mother and her children as family. That is why he sees them as um, strangers. Because the stepdaughter says that he sees them as the illegitimate children of the man. He resents them. But when you look at him, you realize that he has a point for being upset with both the mother and the father because none of them were in his life.
And Madam, please. Madam, please, another
No.
question.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yeah, my question is that, Madam, we know that every play that we watch or we read about, they all tend to actually show some realistic things, like lifelike things. So, like they pass a message. So, in this case, in this play, what is the message that they want to bring out to let us know? Because there are a lot of things actually in the play, but
You are talking about the message.
please.
Oh, you have to determine that for yourself. There isn't just one message, but the main idea that he tries to portray has to do with the theater itself and how we see what happens on stage as not real. But what happens in real life is real. So he's pointing us to the difference that is, if any, exists between reality and what we call fiction. Because when you look at the conversation between the father and the manager, where the manager was deriding them for calling themselves characters and saying they are not real, and that when it comes to real life, and then he asks him, so you think you are more real than I am? What is reality? There are some people who have argued that this life we are living is actually a dream. And the dreams we have are actually our real lives. These are very complicated to think about. But then when you look at the fact that there's a very thin line between what we describe as our real lives, our realities, and what we consider as fiction, they all move into each other. Because we look at life and we create fiction out of it. So fiction exists out of what we experience in life, and then also out of our dreams and all that, which sometimes is mixed with our own realities. And so it is very difficult for us to just say that, oh, this is just fiction, this is real. Where is the line? These are the ideas Pirandello is putting out there, and he has brought it into the theater, asking audiences to also question what is real. Because if what you see on stage is not real, then you don't even believe in your own reality. Because what they put on stage stems from our real lives. So he's questioning the limits of stage illusion, also questioning the limits of reality as we think of it, and then fiction as we think of it, and saying that these intertwine. And so the manager shouldn't just dismiss the characters as just characters. Because the father says something which is very crucial, that just as certain things are created in certain ways, like people are created as human beings like this, there are others who are created as characters. And so they also deserve to have a life of their own. And these characters feel like they are stifled by the limits of the stage itself. You see how the stepdaughter wants to enact the scene the way it is. Yet the manager tells her, this is the theater, you can't have it all. You have to cut certain things off so that it can fit the time limits that we have on stage. And they are saying, no, this is our lives, this is our reality. Don't cut things off. We want everything to show. And the manager tells them, no, you can't have it all here. Here, we only create half truth. We can't create the entire truth and put it on stage. So there are limits to the stage illusion. But really, are characters and people different? Yes, when you describe characters as characters, because I mean, people may embody characters. Characters would demonstrate certain features of human beings, which I have discussed in the video, where you look at the physical dimension, you look at the social dimension of characters, you look at their moral values, you look at their psychological dimension and all that. These make up characters, and these are features you can get from humans. Of course, characters were created based on observations of humans, but that is where it ends. Characters are not as complex as human beings because of the whole idea of limiting the drama within a certain frame. Else, we will follow the characters forever. You cannot predict easily the actions of people, but you can predict the actions of characters because they have been imbued with certain patterns that are all linked together to communicate just one idea about what they want and how they go about it to get it based on their values about life and their psychological drive, you see. But characters are very predictable as compared to human beings, even though they actually gain inspiration for creating characters based on the way human beings are. So the complexity in all of these things has to do with characters as separate from human beings. And you can see it in the confrontation between the actors and the characters, where the stepdaughter says, who is going to play me, the leading lady? I don't see myself in her. But because every day the actors come to rehearse plays and embody characters, they don't confront the characters as themselves to even talk to them. They confront them in a book. So they read the book and then give their own impression of who these characters are. But as to whether these characters are exactly the way the actors are representing them to be, it's another issue, you see. And so when you look at the idea, whose microphone is on, when you look at the idea of the play itself, he's just questioning the limits of stage illusion, while at the same time questioning what is fiction and what is reality. Is there a fine line between fiction and reality? We think we are living real lives, but is this really our reality? He's asking us. And you can find this in the conversation between the father and the manager, where he was arguing for how real he is. And he tells the manager that I, as a character, am more real than you are because my reality does not change. Yours changes every day based on circumstances. You got that part, right? Joel, did you
Yes,
read
please,
that
madam.
part?
Yes, please,
Where
madam.
he tells the manager that I am more real than you are,
Yes,
even
please.
though you call me just a character, because my reality is fixed. Yours is not fixed. Today you are one person, tomorrow you will be someone else.
Mhm.
You see the way
Madam,
the characters have been described.
yes, please.
They are fixed forever and they will live forever like that. But as the actor or as a human being, your reality can change tomorrow. Today you will be described as a very agile young man. Tomorrow something might happen and you might be reduced in a wheelchair or something, and so it has changed. So when he talks about reality, the father, he's talking about how relative it is. Your reality today might change tomorrow. And so we shouldn't try to get hung on or hang up on just one idea. This is who I am and I'm not changing. No, certain things can force you to change. Certain things can force you to behave in a certain way. And so he's just trying to foreground the idea that we should constantly rethink what we think we know about our reality. He is more like a philosophical writer, Pirandello, and you can see it even in his own critique of himself at the beginning of the play. Did you see what the manager said about Pirandello's plays?
Yes, please, madam.
Yes. So he decided to criticize himself because of what critics have been saying about him, that his plays do not make sense. But this is what makes such plays special. The fact that they force you to think beyond the comfort of what you think you know, so that you examine life more critically. Certain beliefs that you have accepted as true, you are forced to rethink them. You are forced to look at characters in a different way. That, oh, characters may have their own lives. They exist, they do exist in their own worlds. They are not just fiction. They have their own reality. And so when we are engaging with characters, we need to take into consideration the fact that as an actor, any version of a character I portray is just one version of that character based on my understanding of who that character is. But it doesn't mean that I am portraying that character as the character is. And that is the argument between the actors and the characters. Does that make sense, Joel? Joel,
Yes, please, madam. I'm here. Yes, please.
does that make
Madam,
sense?
yes, please, madam. I also have. I don't know if it's a question or a suggestion, but then the fact that we say that characters and actors are quite not the same. Sometimes I think the actor has mostly the features of the character that stays on him. Like you can take an actor like Ozoko, like there's a Nigerian actor who is called
Yes, I
that
know
woman
her.
does always wicked. She plays always a wicked role as a character in a play, in a movie. But then, madam, when you look at her, every movie that she does, she has a wicked. She takes a wicked stand or something like that. And sometimes it can also affect a real personality. I
Mm,
recently watched a documentary where there was, I think, an American actor who was saying that he doesn't exist himself apart from the character that he plays in the movie.
mm-hmm.
Yes, so I would
It
like to say that
happens.
sometimes,
It happens. It happens especially when you don't go to the character with a presupposed understanding of how the character should be. When you allow those who practice method acting by Stanislavski, it's a kind of acting that says you shouldn't um, play the character as you are. You should play the character as the character is. So essentially the whole processes of method acting is supposed to lead you to become the character. And so when people use meditations and other processes to really embody the character takes over. It's like possession. You know what possession is, right? Like in
yes, madam.
the traditional religion where some people get possessed by gods. Exactly. So it becomes like possession where the character takes over, and it could take the actor months to get out of that character. This alone should tell us that characters are real. Because when you look at the example of Ozoko's own is just more like a certain type of character she has embodied. And she portrays that same character everywhere. I wouldn't call that very strong acting. She has embodied that character so much that it is more like a type. And this is actually a flaw in our movie making, where one actor portrays a certain character so well, and then all other producers and directors will begin to cast that person for that particular role in all movies. And so you would think that person is such a good actor.
I am here.
Hey, who is that? You would think that person is such a good actor, but the person has just become a type. The person has been typecast for that particular role so many times that the person has now embodied an idea of how that character should be portrayed. And so the person obviously will do it so well, but the limits of it all is tested when that same person is able to move from one character to the other flawlessly and still portray those diverse characters in a very strong way. And those who do it very well need time to get out of one character and embody another. It is not those who churn out movies like every week. Those people, it's like, I have just rehearsed this character. Whichever movie you put me in, I am playing this character. That is what you see with Ozoko and Chewa. Chewa is the Ghanaian version of Ozoko. And so you see that character being played out. The moment you see that actor, you know the character the person is playing. But there's a difference between those who really embody a certain kind of character, and it will take them, somebody like, you can see it in this guy, Johnny Depp. It has taken him so long to get out of that Jack Sparrow character. Wherever you find him, he's behaving like Jack Sparrow. That's a very dangerous place to be as an actor, because anybody who is being serious about filmmaking would want to see you in the character he or she has created, not the old character you have been playing somewhere else. It's not a good mark of a very good actor. It's not how well you can play one particular role. No, it is how well you can play any role you are given and make it look unique and different from the one you last played. Joel, does that make sense?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
All right.
It makes sense.
Ladies, I'm not hearing Mary, Rahima, Laurentia.
Laurentia.
Pearl. I'm not hearing you. Hello.
Yes.
Pearl, do you
Yes,
have
madam.
anything to say about the play and what you have been reading so far?
Okay, madam. When I was discussing the play with Joel, we had this misunderstanding. The play. Are we supposed to talk about? Are we supposed to talk about the characters, the 6 characters, differently from the manager, different from the part of the manager? Are we supposed to talk about it like that?
Yes. If you watch the video I uploaded, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, on character, you realize that there are 2 levels of characters in 6 characters in search of an author. There are those who appear as characters. That's the 6 characters: the mother, the father, the son, the stepdaughter, the child, the boy. And then you have the outer level, which are the company, the theater company, the manager, the leading lady, the machinist, the leading man, and all that. But when you put them all together, they are the characters in 6 characters in search of an author. Does that make sense?
Yes, madam.
So they are all characters, even though within the play, they differentiate between the characters and themselves as actors and manager of the company. But this is something I told the main campus class yesterday. I expect you to treat the given circumstances as given circumstances. I'm not asking you to tease out themes and all that. I want you to present the given circumstances under headings, time, all 3 levels of time. Time of composition, time of action, and then the dramatic time. And then you have another heading which states place, and you state it. You have another heading which states society, and under society you have the relationships, you have the social rankings, you have the social standards, you have occupations. What are they doing? What do they do to engage themselves? And then you have the economic situation. What kind of economic situation do they live in? The bigger one will definitely be the capitalist system, because individuals are working and owning their own businesses to try to make a living. And there are smaller transactions between the characters that's or earn them money for living. And you can see how the mother faced hardship before leaving to go and join the father. And all of these things give you an idea as to how the characters are making ends meet. And then you move on to learning and the arts. Are there formal educational institutions? How are people trained and all that? What is artistic? In this particular play, it is actually very artistic in terms of the fact that it has to do with playmaking. It's a theater. And they even go ahead to tell you about the conventions of the theater, what is permissible, what is not. You go and talk about spirituality. Do they believe in any spirituality? What is the evidence? So I need these headings. You need to first know how to tease out elements of the given circumstances on their own before you begin to discuss them in relation to theme, in relation to character and all that. Right now, I just want you to gain that confidence to be able to pick up any play and tease out these elements to get an idea of the world of the play. Does that make sense?
Yes, madam.
So it's a bit tedious, but I'm really working on going through all your submissions to give you feedback so that you can be better with your subsequent submissions. Okay.
Okay.
So I like the fact that you had this misunderstanding. It's a good thing. It shows that each of you has his or her own thinking about the play, and so you're able to come together to find a common ground. So at the end of the day, what did you end up with? Pearl.
We didn't really come to an understanding.
Oh, okay. But does it make sense now?
Yes, please.
They are all characters. Even the actors are characters within the play.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Welcome. Who else has something to say? Who else has something to say?
Madam,
Yes, Henry.
when I read the play, it was a bit confusing for me because how the play is, you can't know, you wouldn't know whether it's a comedy, a melodrama, a tragic comedy. It was very, very confusing. So I would like to ask whether it was a comedy or it wasn't a comedy, or what type of play it was.
Well, it's you can see it has a comedy aspect to it, and it is also very tragic. So you can call it a tragic comedy, but it doesn't really follow the rules of tragicomedy, where it begins on a light note and ends tragically, right? We know where it begins on a tragic note and ends lightly, like Shakespeare's play The Tempest. The Tempest, for instance, is a tragicomedy where it started with the storm and everything, like they were all going to perish. There was a shipwreck, and at the end of the day, it ends with a marriage on a very light note. That is a typical movement of tragicomedy. But this time, this one, would you call it a tragicomedy? It has light elements in it, and then it ends tragically, both for the characters and the actors, because the actors had come and wasted an entire day on the characters. They did not achieve what they wanted to achieve. I wouldn't, on a lighter level, you might call it tragic. You might say it is tragic, but on a lighter level. But the more tragic aspect is the story of the characters. And so the best way to look at it is what Pirandello himself describes it to be, a meta theater. It's a meta theater. It's supposed to be a comedy, because even the play that the actors came to rehearse was supposed to be a comedy, mixing it up. And then the play that the characters brought for them to rehearse is also a comedy, because that's what the stepdaughter described it as when she was telling the little girl, the child, what they were doing there, that this is the theater. And here we play at being serious. We act comedy here, you know. But is it really comic? The effects may be comic, where the characters come in as themselves, as characters. That's really weird and funny. Even the way Madame Pache enters. And then the fact that at the end of the day, the characters all disappear and leave the manager stupefied. Like, what just happened? It was like an entire fiasco. It was a much ado about nothing situation for the actors and the manager, because they had come there to rehearse and now they have left with nothing, and they have to go and come back another day, wasting an entire day. And that in itself is money for a theater company. And so it is a meta theater. And within it, when you say it's a meta theater, the play within that play itself can be tragedy, can be comedy, can be any genre. And so the best way to describe it is meta theatrical. Okay, Henry?
Please, you said, Madam, please, you said the best way
Yes,
to
madam.
describe.
It's a meta theater. Meta theater.
Madam,
So
which means
it means a play about theater making. A play about theater making, or the processes of play making. So when I stage a play that comments on the processes of theater making itself, just like the way in Pirandello's play we see it, a theater company had come to rehearse mixing it up, right? And the actors, and then the characters interrupt their rehearsal and tell them that they need an author. And they begin to interest the manager in their own drama. And then he begins, okay, I'm going to write your script. I'm going to write your story so that we stage it. And they were able to finish Act 1, right? And on the stage, it's an auditorium, it's a theater space. And so you can see the machinists giving them lighting and giving them some stage effects. And then you see stage hands there setting the stage. You saw all of these things in the play, right?
Yes, madam.
Exactly. So a play that shows the processes of the theater itself is a meta theater. Okay?
Yes, please, madam.
Yes. So his play is a meta theater. All right.
Hello, madam. Please, I have
Yes.
another question.
Sure.
Yeah, can you, okay, it's more of an opinion.
Okay.
Can you say that the, 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 the playwrights of this play of this story was trying to create or make us see the relationship between characters and then actors, considering
Yes.
the fact that, okay, okay.
It is true. Relationship between characters and actors, and also relationship between characters and human beings.
Okay.
When we call characters as just cartoons, characters, fiction, what are we really saying? Are we saying that they are not real? The playwright is saying that they are more real than we are. Because if we are talking about real being something that is tangible, they are more fixed than we are. We are constantly changing. Based on our circumstances today, we may be one thing, and by tomorrow, our circumstances might change and will become something else. But it is not the same for these characters. They are fixed in time forever, the way they are. The stepdaughter will always be the stepdaughter just as she is. The father will always be the father just as he is. And so will the manager and all the actors. But we will change. That's the father is 50 years old. He will remain 50 years old forever. Next year, each of us will add one more year to our lives. And so he's just forcing us to look at the shaky nature of certain things that we believe to be fixed. He's forcing us to think beyond what we believe about reality. And then also forcing us to think about the limits of stage illusion. We create illusions on the stage of theater, but we cannot go very far because society will not accept certain things. So we would rather just take certain parts and put it together so that we can make sense with the very limited things we portray rather than show everything. And you see it in the play. So it is this relationship between actors and characters, between reality and fiction and all that, that the playwright engages with in this particular play. So instead of talking about, things in general, he has limited the whole idea to the theater. But he also asks us as audience to really be considerate when we are condemning the actions of characters. You see how the stepdaughter condemns the action of the father and blames him for everything that has happened to them and all that. The father is also saying that they shouldn't hold him like forever responsible for just one tiny mistake. And that is what we do in society. That is what we do in society. Somebody does something, go cancel this person because the person has made this tiny mistake, as if we are all perfect. No, we are not. We are all not perfect. And when you look around, Every day in the media, we are calling for somebody's head. We are calling that somebody should be jailed. We are calling, somebody makes a mistake and we don't even look at it holistically. We say, cancel this person, just like that. And so the father tells you, we have so many consciences. It's not just one. We behave in one way with one person, behave in another way with another person. And so if in just one aspect you make a mistake, why should it be used to judge you entirely? And he talks about how his intentions for sending the mother away were noble, were true. But of course, that's what he is saying. And so it asks you to open your mind. When something happens and you are called onto the scene, or you hear somebody's issue or what somebody has been accused of doing, what do? You look at it holistically. Look at this person, observe, look at everything. And you can see beyond what the stepdaughter is accusing him of. Even after he sent the woman away, he was still keeping an eye on them until they left. And so we shouldn't just judge him based on that incident. Of course, if it hadn't turned out to be his stepdaughter, I mean, it would have been just a normal part of his life. That's something he does as a man. But it turned out to be his stepdaughter, so now it is a problem. Of course, it will be a problem, but should he die for just that one mistake? Should he be hanged for just that one mistake? It forces us to think about how judgmental we are towards others. All right. I don't see any hand up. Henry, does that make sense?
Yes, madam, it makes sense. Thank you very much.
Welcome. All right. So I would like you to go through the video I've posted on characters, the video lesson on character, and go through the various dimensions of a character within a play, where you look at the character's objectives, that is what the character wants in the whole play. And then there are super objective, that is the whole play, and then the minor ones, the tiny objectives that lead him to the super objectives. And then you have the actions. Actions is what the characters do to get what they want. And then you look at their values, you look at their relationships, you look at their psychology and all that. So there are various elements to it in order to properly profile a character beyond just the personality traits. So when you watch that video, it will help you to understand how to properly profile a character in a play. And at the end of the video, I have an optional assignment if you want to do it. I believe that when you do it, it will really help you understand how to, in one page, just draw a profile of a character, where you write the character name in the middle and then draw lines here and there to write about the 4 dimensions of character. That is the physical dimension, the social dimension, the moral dimension of the character, and then the psychological dimension of the character based on what you see in the play. So you just use words to describe like that. You're able to just pick one main character and do that for. It will help you see a proper profile of a character. And then also you'll be able to understand the actions of the character. And the best way to do this is to find evidence within the play. That is by looking at what the character says about himself or herself, about others, what others say about the character, and what the character does. What the character does is most important because people can lie about somebody. The person himself can lie about what he or she is. You see? and others' behaviors towards him. But it is ultimately what the person does that points us to the real character of that particular person. And so you watch the video, everything is in there. Watch it, try to understand how to profile characters, and then it will help you be able to do that with any other play. All right, I would like to end here. That is if there isn't any other question from any of you, so that you can go and read Tennessee Williams's The Glass Menagerie and start working on it immediately. Okay. All right. So keep working hard. Make sure that you are reading the plays, because it's only when you read the plays that you have something meaningful to write about them. When you give yourself to it, you'll be great. And so keep working hard. Okay?
Hello,
You're all
madam.
capable of doing it.
Madam,
Yes, Henry.
madam, please, when is our IA?
There's no IA. Your IA is everything you are doing every week. That is more important to me.
Oh, okay, sure.
But what I want you to prepare for is actually the final exam. And I'm not going to give you a sit-down exam. You are going, because it's analysis and it's more of a practical thing. You have to write an essay. You'll be writing an essay, an analysis of one play. You can do a character analysis, or you can choose a theme. And so you have to think about which play you would like to work on as you are reading the plays. Think about which play you would like to work on as your project. And I want you to think in terms of what you will do as an individual. As you are reading the plays, I know you will be attached to one of them. You will find something very interesting in one of them you would like to explore. And don't be thinking about going on the internet and downloading essays, because you are all going to submit through Sakai, and I'm going to put on the Turnitin, the anti-plagiarism software. The moment it gives me a similarity report and it shows that you have plagiarized without even referencing, that sometimes you can just quote one line and reference it, that's fine. Or you can summarize just a small portion and reference it, that's fine. But the entirety of the essay must be your own idea. If you plagiarize, it is straightforward zero. And I keep telling you, this is a core course. If you get a zero, you will keep coming to do it over and over until you decide to apply yourself to it. So don't think this is cheap, this is easy. You are going to go on the internet because the play summaries of these plays are already there. You'll be cheating yourself. Next semester, we'll be doing African plays, and most of them do not have those summaries online. So it's best for you to apply yourself now so that you build that skill to be able to really gain the knowledge you came here to gain. So please, don't be thinking the lazy way. I want you to be very serious about this course. And because of the whole plagiarism thing, I don't know how many of you have seen it. I have posted one of the training sessions I held on the use of software, Mendeley, for referencing. It's a free software online that you can download. And as a University of Ghana student, I think you have the even paid version when you use your students' details. But the free version is fine for you. You don't need that much space for the free version. So the free version will be okay for you. And so look on your lessons page. The last video there is the training I did, which I have recorded, on the use of Mendeley for reference management. When you download it and you link it to your Word, whatever you are writing, you'll be able to reference it using the software. And then you'll be able to have your bibliography at the end of it. This will help you to avoid plagiarism, which is very important to me because I want you to apply yourselves in this class. So go and watch it. If after watching it and trying to follow the processes to do what you have to do, you still don't get it, you can ask questions in our next meeting and all that. But then I just want you to know that the exam is going to be an essay that you are going to write. I mean, of course, the instructions will come later, but I just want you to know the mode of exam because we've been directed to inform you about the mode of exams. It's going to be an essay, and so choose the play you are interested in and what exactly you are interested in within that play. And note it down and begin to work towards it so that you are more acquainted with the play and its given circumstances. And now you begin to think about the theme you want to explore, or maybe two characters you want to compare within the play. All right, so go and
Hello,
do
Madam.
this. Yes, Joel.
Madam, please, I would like, as you're saying, for the main exam, we'll have an essay to write, and we'll give the given circumstances. Mostly, when we give the given circumstances, we don't add them to our work. We just bring them down, and like as you say,
I'm not
bring
saying
them
you
as
should
heading.
no, I'm not saying you should use the given circumstances in your essay. What I'm saying is that you should pen down the given circumstances of the play you are interested in. You start from there, it helps you to understand the world of the play, and then now you begin to explore which aspect of the play you actually want to write the essay on. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I'll give you
Yes, madam.
specific instructions moving forward, but it helps that you identify which play you want to work on. So right now, that's what you're supposed to be thinking
Yes.
about, which play you want to work on.
Yes, please, madam.
All right. I'll see you in our next meeting. It's not next week. So you have to work on the plays you are supposed to work on, do your submission, go online, respond to forum discussions. Mind you, all of these are supposed to be earning you marks. So if you decide to stay away, you don't give any meaningful contribution, then you are doing your own self. Okay. All right. So if you have any further questions, your TA is here. He's also on your platforms. He will always relay it to me, David Agri. He's on your platform. He always relates to me. And as you are submitting your forum discussions, he's monitoring everything there. If you are veering off topic and misrepresenting the things you're supposed to be engaging with, he will inform me and I'll clarify the confusion. Okay. All right. But I'll also be monitoring. Like I gave you a few impressions the last time we met. I'm also monitoring to see what you are writing. All right. So keep working hard. I hope to see you on the Sakai forum sites. Check out the video on the reference management software, which will help you with your academic writing. Okay. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye, madam.
Bye.
Bye.